Hello and welcome to this extra special energy show live with me, Sylvia Hartmann. And I am delighted to welcome you, dear shining being, from all the spaces and multiple dimensions. A fantastic good morning to dear Helen and Paul. I hope that we are going to have some real good fun today. And, well, you know how it is. Life. So I had a really stressful week with one thing and another. Ho, good morning, Jamie. Hello there. Fantastic. Yay. Hey, we got people joining the stream, which is wonderful. Stream in, dear friends, from everywhere you want to come and assemble here. The only thing that we have in common here is that we are human beings, we have a real living energy body, and that allows us to make connections across all possible divides that could possibly exist between people. And that always makes me happy and it makes me glad. Yeah, so I don't know how your week has been. My week has been really stressful for a multitude of reasons. But as you know, when you think things can't get any worse, they do. So on Saturday morning, my stress levels took a whole new nosedive into a whole other dimension of stress. And I am pleased in such circumstances that I have so many wonderful energy methods to recognize my stress in the first place and then to do something about it. And so when it came to setting up this live stream, what should we be talking about? Should we be talking about stress? No, I'm just... Into my mind floated the happy voice saying, let's do metaphor magic. And I don't know if you can actually pick this up in the background, but we are having a fabulous thunderstorm happening here right now, with thunderbolts and lightning. And that does not frighten me. Indeed, it is perfect for the magic power of metaphor. What an exciting topic. Do you guys love metaphor too? Morning, dear Birgit. Hello. Welcome. Yay, Germany. Germany has joined us. Yeah. So, as all things in the 5 sense paradigm, metaphors are a bit of a problem, aren't they? And I have been bemused and confounded in equal measure by all these wonderful things. I'm having a green screen malfunction here, aren't I, Paul? That's probably what it is. As long as you can see my head, we should be okay, eh? And let us continue forward and not be disrupted by all these wonderful things that can happen. Ah, Francesca, my darling. Francesca says, I love metaphors. Yes, I love metaphors too. I really do. And metaphors they're like Marmite. Metaphors are like Marmite. Either you love them or you hate them. Hello, good morning, Alex. Yes, it is impressive, the weather out there, isn't it? Yeah, either you love metaphors or you hate them. So make me happy and type in how you feel about metaphors into the comments. If you're watching the replay, please take a moment to pause the video and say in the comments whether you love metaphors or you hate them. Because there's is just one of those things. Every person who says they love metaphors too, I feel I'm not so alone any longer. And I feel that there are people out there who understand where I'm coming from. And possibly even where I'm going to. Oh, yeah, so. As I was saying, in the 5 sense paradigm, metaphors don't make any sense, and they try to analyze the linguistic structures of metaphors. And that is just not how you can get to the content. Or let us imagine a metaphor was a tin can with goodies inside, and there could be some really tasty peach slices or something even better. And you're trying to get into that can, and you're trying to use a hammer to just beat down on it, on a rock or something. And you get this sort of squishy, metallic, rocky mess at the end of the day that makes no sense, that you can't bake into a pie, you can't do a damn thing with it. Is that a metaphor? Is that a simile? I'm not entirely sure, and I don't care. I just like to think of metaphors as these wonderful, energy-rich things. And here we come to... Aha! Before we go to that, I'm going to put some things on the screen. Birgit says, I love metaphors very much. Woohoo! Jamila says, I love them as well. Paul says, love a good metaphor. They are fun. Aren't they just? Aren't they just amazing? Shamazier say, I love them as a shortcut for too much problems. Yes, and that is certainly something that we're going to get to. In this live stream, I definitely want you to find a good problem that we can solve today with the power of metaphor, with the magic of metaphor. And we might not be able to solve it, but I can guarantee you that we can evolve it. And that, of course, is very, very important. Helen, good morning. I love magic. I love metaphor magic. Yes, metaphor magic. I wasn't quite sure whether I was going to call this magic metaphor or metaphor magic. I might still retitle this show to magic metaphor, so that we've got it every which way around. Good morning, dear Marina. We're talking about the love of metaphor. As I say, some people get it and some people just don't. And I wish the people that don't a real forward evolution and understanding and an embracing of the wonder of metaphor. So, someone said to me, you shouldn't really talk about metaphor because that dilutes the content of your channel, because your channel is all about energy work, tapping, email, that kind of thing. Why do you insist of talk of metaphor all the time? Why do you insist of making videos about metaphor? Why do you insist about talking about supermind and the dear energy mind and all of that? Just stay in your lane, Sylvia, and you'll be so much more successful. Man, if I got £1 for every time I've heard that in my life, I'd be a very rich woman. So let us go back to the fundamentals of modern energy. What is modern energy for? It's for the living energy body. Yeah, just say hello. Hello, living energy body. How are you doing today? How are you feeling? Yes, we'd like you to be a part of our lives. Wake up, sleeping beauty. Where would you like to be gently kissed, just for a moment? Little kiss of energy. To wake up. Because, the more awake we are, the better the world becomes. Okay. Yes, so we have a living energy body, and I feel we need to take better care of it. It's been neglected, ignored, and still it is the most important part of us that receives the least amount of attention. And the purpose of all modern energy is to improve the flow of energy through the energy body. I have personally written millions of words by now on all sorts of different ways and topics. But at the end of the day, let's just remember this. Modern energy is about improving the flow of energy through the living energy body. And there are all sorts of different ways of doing this. And working with metaphor is one of them. To me, metaphor is simply a translation of an existing energetic reality somewhere in these ultra-complicated systems that our energy bodies are. They are just so amazing. They cannot be reduced to just some needly points and chakra things. And you can't think of energy bodies like that. Think of them as a galaxy exploding endlessly and birthing new galaxies and stars. That's closer to the mark in my way of thinking about the living energy body. Yeah, and you could call that a metaphor. You could if you wanted to. Well, the other day, a lady left a comment on the German YouTube channel. And she asked me, how did I ever get started in being a professional energy person? Because she feels that there is a giant wall standing between her and her dream of becoming an energy healer. And I read that and I smiled to myself, because we have this concept in modern energy of a client offering a metaphor on a plate. And in the training manual, there's two little people, and one of them has a plate with a big frog sitting on it. And that's the client, offering you a metaphor on a plate. So, in linguistic terms, this makes no sense. In the 5 sense paradigm, it makes no sense. There is no wall in front of her. She's just being stupid. She's just being deluded. Let's talk about her childhood trauma. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that at all. Let's take what the person said seriously and take it into the magic land of metaphor, where we are capable of moving around energetic realities as simply and as easily as a big bulldozer will knock down a brick wall in the hard, or even easier still, because of course it's only energy. Now, of course, we could tap with this lady on the giant wall that stands between her and her dream of becoming an energy healer. We could tap on that. There's a big wall, and we tap on it enough and the big wall will shrink down. But I will have to say, once you start with metaphor, even in tapping treatments, you need to stay with the metaphor. You can't just switch out of it. Because the reason the woman said this is because that's the level in the energy system where the problem exists. That's exactly in that special level that I call the psychic circuitry, but could very well be just the neurology of our souls. Our soul person talks to us, not in linear language as such, but in metaphor. There's something going on at that metaphorical level. And that's why I'm always saying, if a person presents you with a metaphor on a plate, then you know immediately that's the right place to go. That's where the intervention needs to take place. That's the level of energy work we need to do. And now it's time for the magic of metaphor. Ha! Ooh! I'm so excited. I'm just excited by this. See, I think that we all have great big walls that stand between us and something else. And I would now like you to think of something that seems completely out of reach for you, that other people can do, but you can't do it. Or something that a life pattern of something that you've tried to achieve time and time and time again. And it's failed every single time. And you're tired and weary of repeating the same life pattern over and over and over again. And that too feels like endlessly running up against a huge wall that you just can't get through. And I'd like you to now think simply. Let's do the classic game. Let's walk into the world of energy with the classic game. Now, this giant wall doesn't exist by itself. Energy is about relationships and connections and pathways and flows. It's never about isolated things. If you have isolated things, that's islands sticking out of a giant ocean, and under that surface they're all connected. Everything is connected. So there's no such thing as a wall that floats in the middle of nowhere. Your personal wall has to be somewhere. Because metaphors are very, very logical, especially if we're pretty energy high, and I think most of us are quite energy high here this morning. We're excited, we love metaphor. Ooh, there's something good happening here, something that's probably waited to have happened for decades. And we're going to remove a major energy blockage, probably not in your basic meridian circuitry, but at the soul level. I mean, my goodness, what could be better than that? So, your massive wall that is stopping you from moving forward towards your dreams, towards your goals, that massive wall has to stand on the surface. So I'd like you to just take that moment and look down at the surface upon which the wall is standing, to give you an idea of the landscape that you find yourself in. What that does, it anchors the metaphor into its general environment. It connects it up with your energy system in such a way that we can then start to do something about it. Just have a look at the ground and have a look around. You might look behind you too. And tell me the kind of landscape your giant wall is standing in. Please write it in the comments. If you're watching the replay, press stop and just write it down. What kind of landscape is your wall standing in? As you're doing this, my one is standing in a desert. And I'm looking around and there's literally just desert. Desert all around. And it's hot. But we come to that in a moment. Sandy desert. The middle of the desert is a giant wall. What the hell? See, but here's one of the really big tips about working with the magic of metaphor. Do not try to analyze this. Don't try and analyze that with your, science brain, or try to analyze it above all else, and I beg you, from the deepest wells of my being, do not analyze this from the Freudian perspective, or the psychotherapy perspective, or the what you've read in a magic book 20 years ago about dreams perspective. Just this is the absolute 101 of working with the magic of metaphor, is to enter into that story and accept 100% what your dear energy mind is sending you. That is to step into that story. You can change that story now from within. You can't change it by being outside of the story or thinking about it or trying to analyze it. You need to go and step into that story. Oh, great. Ah, we've got lots of comments coming back here. Let's have a quick look here. All right. Ilka says that her big wall is in the middle of my golden way. Well, we could sense that might be a problem. Helen's wall is located in an industrial wasteland. Birgit's, it's standing on big stones in the ocean, flooded with water. Interesting. Helen has some weeds in her industrial wasteland as well. On my wall is standing on a sandy beach. Okay, cool. Hey, that's really good. So now we have a beach or a location. We have a location where we can stand and look at the wall. And I'd like to always make this entering into this into this energy world, consciously entering into this energy world, as fully lucid as possible. And we do that by adding the senses. So just stand in front of your wall and admire the grandiosity and the vastness of it, the impossibility of ever overcoming it by any means that you could possibly think about. And take a deep breath in as you're standing there and become aware of the time of day. What time of day it is as you're standing here? What's the time of year? What's the weather like? Take another deep breath in and just become aware of what the air tastes like here, what kind of scents you can discern. And if you like, you can step forward and touch the wall. Get a sense of that, what it's made of, what kind of energy that is. What happens when you push on it? I love it. Every single one of our different walls in their different habitats could be the start of a brand new movie or a television show that could be super, super interesting. This is real creativity. This is creativity. Your own energy mind telling you something, giving you something, telling you not the whole story, but it's telling you something. And that's the thing with Supermind and Project Sanctuary, where we learn together consciously to talk to our energy mind, and our energy mind responds. Oh, yeah. Thank you for your comments. Might not be able to read them all out. So, yeah. Excellent. You're getting the time of day, the time of year. You're getting a sense of actually being there with your wall. And now, really, and this is also something that I am such a fan of. Every person has a different wall. Every person has a different location. This is personal to you. This is your wall. We need not worry about where that came from or how that came into being. It's completely immaterial, and it matters not in the slightest. Perhaps when it dissolves, we'll find out naturally. We go, oh, aha, that's what that was. But it doesn't matter. Our one purpose and task today is to dissolve the wall, make it go away. The magic of metaphor. And so I'm going to ask you now, what kind of additional magic do you need for you to be able to dissolve that wall? What do you need? Let something come to you. Something, your idea, your intelligence, your intuition, your dear energy mind knows what you need in order to make the wall explode, dissolve, disappear, any which way from Sunday, just so that that wall is no more for you and can never arise again. Oh God, I love this. Oh, I've got shivers of excitement doing this. Oh, that's really kind of interesting. Yeah. So in the comments we have, I need a ladder and a needle. How interesting. Please go right ahead and manifest that for you. A ladder and a needle, and get to work. And I want to know what then happens next. Barbara says, I need the wind to blow it away. Yep. And she has an idea that this might be related to music. Music is carried on the wind. As you say, musical sheets can be carried out on the wind. How interesting. Helen would like to use a mechanical digger. Birgit says she used a hammer, but if she beats on it, it always bounces back. Right. So here we come to a wonderful principle that I have talked about on many occasions, and this is known as increasing the magic. We are so used to, after years and years and years of stumbling around in the hard, to think that everything is just hard. But this is a different place. This is a magic realm that has different laws of nature. Here, when you increase energy, you increase the magic. And then all of a sudden, things that are so hard, like this wall for Birgit, aren't so hard anymore. May I send you, Birgit, some sparkles to turn your hammer into a magic hammer, like Thor's hammer, and increase the magic, and find out what happens next. I would also add to this is that this is sanctuary. You don't just get one chance, one hammer beat, it doesn't work. If at first you don't succeed, try something else. Try something else. This is sanctuary. It's only energy. Everything is malleable here. Everything is malleable. And as I said this, my dear energy mind, which is still working on the giant wall in the sand, in the desert, giant wall of gold for some reason, a golden wall in a desert, at high noon, very hot, very sticky. As I was saying this, I could see the wall beginning to sink down into the sand under its own weight. I mean, gold is incredibly heavy. If you've ever held a real gold coin, you'd be just so surprised at the weight of it, because you just don't expect something that looks like that to be so heavy. And that makes, to me now, perfect sense, that this enormous wall built of gold under its own weight is sinking down into the sands. And I immediately connected it up into the sands of time. Oh, I love that. This is just one of the most wonderful things I have ever seen in Sanctuary. And I'm going to move back a little bit here, because this wall extends like from horizon to horizon and up into the sky. I want to see it sinking down in slow motion from further away. Oh, this process may continue while I look at your comments and see what you've been doing. Oh my God, Francesca says, this is so cool. I put the ladder to the wall, stepped onto the third step, and then pricked the middle of the wall, and it just deflated. Like it was only a blow-up wall all this time. And if you touched it just in the right place, it would just... Awesome! I love it. Well done, Francesca. That's so good. I'm just reading through Barbara's comments. She's having quite a journey here. Let's have a look at that. Oh, that's nice. So this whole thing just melted into something like lard, which then got washed away, and golden autumn leaves have come to take its place. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder where that lard went. You know, Sanctuary is logical. Lard doesn't just disappear, it goes somewhere. And lard, you know, it's a highly prized substance amongst creatures that need the calories to stay warm in winter, especially considering that you've got autumn going on there as well. The lard went down the drain. Ah, lovely. Francesca says, at first, whilst looking at the wall, I was intimidated. But when I used the sense of touch, the situation changed completely and I found the right spot. Yep. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we know it and sense it. And the touch thing is really important. You know, X marks the spot. There's so many patterns where I'm using that to essentially let a part of us that knows more than we do move the hands so that we can sense the right place. Very important in energy art, of course, but also in all map making, star memory drawings, all sorts of things. Okay. Who's this here? This is Birgit. With the magic hammer, one piece of stone after the other fell down on the ground and added to the other big stones on the ground. The stones are similar. Yeah, well, what do you want to do next, Birgit? What do you want to have happen next here? You have the magic, you have the power. You decide what you want to do with all those stones on the ground. Decide it together with your dear energy mind. See, sometimes you try and do something and it doesn't work, or you get a bad reaction. Let us just say, for argument's sake, somebody's decided to throw acid at their wall. So they're throwing acid at the wall, and instead of getting smaller, it gets bigger. That's the energy mind giving you feedback, saying to you, hey, that didn't work. You have to try something else. And perhaps it sends roses or something. So then the person throws roses at the wall, and all of a sudden the wall just shivers and disappears, because it just needed a little bit of love. Who knows? Who's to say? What happens is what happens for you. This is your journey, your personal journey, your exploration, you working on your own energy system in an incredibly natural, intuitive, and creative way. I've just tuned back into my golden wall that is sinking into the sands of time. And there's just only about that yay much left. And I think, oh my God, I just had a little ascension here. This is going to continue to sink down and down and down and down. It's not going to hit the bedrock and stop. It's just going to keep going down and down and down until it gets into the liquid places, and then it ends up right in the center of this planet on which I'm standing with the desert. And when it gets there, then it's home. And I don't know consciously what that means, but it feels absolutely wonderful to me. And that's another thing. Doesn't matter if nobody else in the world understands what you're doing or why. It doesn't matter. As long as it creates these powerful, positive, yes, that is so right for me, then you're doing exactly the right thing. Barbara says that the frogs down in the drain are eating the lard. Excellent. Guten Appetit, as we say in Germany. And frogs, I don't know. You never know. You know what they say about frogs and princes? So, I leave you to play with that. Cool. I hope something nice is happening. Oh, I just found another one. Let's have a look what Ilka says. The sculpture of the dragon, made of the pieces of the wall, want to be on the end of the way that leads to a beautiful golden island that is in the ocean, and where the sun always shines. Wow, that is lovely. And your road is clear now, is it? It's clear? The road to the island is clear? Where the sun always shines? That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Love it. You know, as you can see from these very few people who are playing here with me this morning, how different the whole experience is. And I wish that dear lady who talked about the giant wall that stood between her and her dream of becoming an energy healer, that I'm just going to wish her with all my heart that her wall will begin to melt one day, and that she'll find a way to make it go away. And I would like to thank her also on behalf of everyone who is ever going to watch this video. Ever. Thank you for bringing us your metaphor on a plate, that we could do something with it this morning. Okay. Barbara's frogs are now singing a happy song. That is so you, Barbara. That's so perfect. And you never know, there may be a real song emerging from this. Ooh. Birgit. Birgit knocked her wall down and was left with an awful lot of useful building material, it seems. With the stones, I want to build a bridge, connect to the rainbow and leading to the spirit and magic realms. Yes, fabulous. That's a beautiful evolution, Birgit. Yeah, use that old bricks from that wall to build something new and glorious. Absolutely love it. Yes, wonderful. I love working with the magic of metaphor. I love it, absolutely love it. It's so interesting. It is so entertaining. It is educational. And when there's more of us doing this together, there's some brilliant ideas like, oh yeah, like touching these blocks and walls to find the perfect place where if you just tap it there, the whole thing just goes poof. That's a wonderful idea. Love it. Love the idea that Birgit had to take the stones from the wall and build something new, something that you want. A bridge. And bridges are so important in the energy body. I was talking about that the other day in a context that I don't quite recall. I was saying we're always thinking in terms of blocks in the energy body or injuries. But there's often just disconnections, like there's a bridge missing. And we noticed this in doing Star Matrix, that is definitely an energy problem, that there's like a bridge gone missing somehow, or a connection that should have been made that wasn't made. So yeah, that's just wonderful. Ah, okay. Helen had a mechanical digger. With my digger, I'm still wondering what to do with the wall debris, where to put it. Okay, Helen, increase the magic. That's always the big tip. That's well worth writing on a piece of paper and hanging up on the fridge. Increase the magic. What if you had a magic digger there? Where could you apply magic? Magic fairy dust. That makes things sparkle and bright, that can make things disappear that you don't want anymore. You are a very intuitive person, so I am sure something will come to you. Oh, something that came to my energy mind suggested to throw some magic dust on your digger. Get off the digger first. Throw some magic dust at the digger and see what it will evolve into. This is one of the wonderful things in energy land, is that a frog that is kissed can turn into a prince. And that is a natural evolution. And the prince, once kissed, may turn into an angel. Things don't have to be stuck in the same shape and the same form forever and ever and ever in the energy realms. Transformation, transfiguration. It's energy. Energy itself is like the most extraordinary set of Lego bricks ever, allowing you to create anything from that essential, sparkling, original building blocks. And as long as it improves energy flow, it's also worth remembering. So we increase the magic. What can I use here to get energy higher? What would really help me? Just had a bright crystal, like a sapphire, a starry sapphire pendant, that if you were to wear it over your heart, all of a sudden your magic would increase, and then you just have to point at things, use a magic wand, increase the magic. That's the key. Hoo-hoo! Barbara's 3 frogs have evolved into a fairy with a magic wand. That's wonderful. That's awesome. Yeah. It's further evolution. And so, as we are coming towards the end of this session, what I particularly want you to do right now, if you still have bits of your wool lying around, that's okay. You can finish that up immediately. Make sure you finish it up after the show is finished. But what I would like us all to do is to just zoom out on the original landscape where that wall once was, and to take a bigger picture of that habitat, of that ecology, of that environment. See if there's, see here, feel, taste, scent, if there are any changes occurring. So for my desert, as I'm sort of watching it, it seems that the giant wall somehow interfered with streams of weather that would have brought water to this entire region. It blocked the clouds. So on the other side it was all wet and horrible, and on this side completely desert dry. And so with that wall out of the way now, the clouds and the rain, the weather can pass once more completely across the landscape. And as it's starting to rain, the first little seeds that were sleeping in the dust of the desert are awakening from their long dreams and starting to come to life. Soon this will be a valley filled with grasses and flowers and silver rivers sparkling in the sunlight. That was absolutely delightful. That was completely a star experience for me. Thank you so much that you were here with me and doing this together as we were. Give your landscapes some love and some blessing. They all need to do something. They all need to heal after all that time where this wall was in place and disrupted energy flow, and to send some love and embrace the entire landscape and allow it itself to renew now. And by all means, fast forward time so that you can see, know, understand how this landscape is now evolving into a more natural state, into a more beautiful state, the way it had always meant to be. Ilka says, the wall is gone and coloured birds are coming and other animals. Wow, it's like life comes back. Yeah, that was the sense that I got when the winds came back and the rain came back. Thank God for that. Helen says, what a beautiful image of a golden wall with different weather systems either side. Yeah, that's how it was. That's how it was. Before the golden wall sank into the sands of time under its own weight. Barbara says, thank you, Sylvia. Amazing stuff. Oh, isn't it just? There's something so special and so magical working with energy, which is what we were doing energy work at the sanctuary level. There's something so wonderful about it to me. It absolutely tells me that that's the kind of energy work I personally need to do the most of, because I'm so drawn to it. I love it so much. I'm so fascinated by it. And so what I would like to do is to close with the following thought. All of modern energy is just about improving the flow of energy through your living energy body. All of it. But every person is different, and we all have different challenges. Our energy systems are different. And so what I like to have people understand is to do that which you are drawn to. If you are absolutely in love with tapping, that may well indicate that your energy problems or your greatest energy challenges or your opportunities for evolution are in that system that is particularly addressed by tapping. Some people prefer EMO. They're really drawn to it. It makes so much sense to them. And some people light up like a proverbial candle flame, and I'm one among them. It's when we do things in the energy realms directly, sanctuary stuff, like we've done this morning. The world of metaphor. But it is, of course, just so much more. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking part and giving us that special space where we could play with metaphor magic to improve energy flow through our living energy bodies, which is what modern energy is all about. And so talking about sanctuary is not at all not staying in my lane. This is my lane. 100%. Always was, always will be, always has been. Let us end this lovely session this morning and make our little Energist statement together. Let's do a we version today because it's true. We have amazing physical bodies. We have such beautiful minds. We have a radiant, living energy body. We are multidimensional beings in the oceans of energy, and our happiness matters. Woohoo! Well done, everybody. That was really fabulous. Jolly good fun. If you ever have any good ideas for me to address in an energy show, please let me know. And everybody, please leave a like and a comment on this video to let YouTube know that there's something of interest here for other people too. So with all of that, I wish you wonderful blessings for the week ahead and for all times too. Lots of love. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again for next week's energy show. Sunday Live with Sylvia. Bye for now.